I'm Scott Allen Miller. It's the 24th of June, 2022, and welcome to my daily vlog of life in Central America. Today I am filming in Guatemala City, Guatemala, which today is my first day here. I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to discovering Guatemala, like exploring Guatemala for quite some time. I've been talking about it on the show for a while. We've been in Antigua the last 2 days, and this morning I actually started in Antigua and I'm now out in Guatemala City. So just real quick to show where I'm filming, I'm in Zone 10, Zona 10, and I'm at the Hotel Antigua Inn. This used to be the Days Inn, and it's this building here. It's a really nice location. We are in the heart of Zone 10. This is like perfect. I'm across from, if you're looking, PF Chang's on the map and TGI Fridays, and we're right in the middle of so many things. So I'm going to start walking and show some of this to you while I'm telling you about my day. But I'm also going to point out right here the Red Lion Inn, right here, owned by Clive, not my Clive, but Clive that I met here, who has lived here for 31 years and gave me a bit of a rundown on the city. But so I started this morning in Antigua, and it was a very frustrating morning because if you watched yesterday, I got stuck working the entire day yesterday while we tried to see Antigua, and it was rough, right? It was just a really rough day. And this morning I got up when Yvonne left. She went to go do her mushroom stuff up in the mountains. That's what she's really here for. She's really into mushroom hunting and stuff, and so she's going out into the forest here, which is supposed to be really, really fantastic for that kind of stuff. So she's doing that, and I am working quite a bit. So I set up in the breakfast area, took my laptop up there because there was like tables. It's all very wet, so I didn't have a lot of space to work. So I set up and had all my devices and like spent several hours up there. They were really nice. They got me an extension cord and made it really easy for me to work. And they got me breakfast and coffee and really took care of me at the hotel. I was very happy with our hotel in Antigua. It was really inexpensive and such a great location. It was fantastic. So I worked there until about 11-ish, at which point basically had things fixed. We had them to a point where there was no longer a disaster going on at work, and I didn't have to be like continuously involved. I managed to absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, prove that the things I said in the first 10 minutes were true, that it was never our fault. The ISP had screwed people over. They were lying. We had all of that proved, and we had worked around them so that we could then argue about the things that they were doing without it being an outage. So at least I had a lot of stress relief at that point. I went down and talked to the desk and was like, okay, I'm packing up. How do I get to Guatemala City? Like, they're like, yeah, that's not so bad. But the road's out, like we know, so it's gonna take you a while to get there. I'm like, okay. And I'm just gonna show a little bit of Guatemala City while I'm walking around here, so don't mind me kind of just giving you a view. It's such a beautiful city. I love this. Now I'm actually filming this tomorrow on the 25th, and we're overcast. Today on the 24th, which I'm not really showing you too much of because I did not get a lot of time to film, it was bright sun and really, really gorgeous. So if you see some of my shots where there's just like all kinds of sunlight, that was probably actually shot today, and if it's overcast, it's probably shot tomorrow. I'm like, okay, so I can take the chicken bus. I've got like this huge backpack and everything, and they're like, well, the chicken bus? Like the hotel is like, you're kind of crazy. I don't think that's a good idea. They're like, we're gonna get you a private car and they'll just take you. And I'm like, how much is that? And they're like, 250 quetzales, and which is about $29, $30, because it's 7.50, 7.5 quetzales to the dollar. And oh, we have a McDonald's here that we're going to show. These are all of the American restaurants. I'm actually walking past an Applebee's of all things, but all of the American restaurants that are here are like really, really amazing, fancy versions of the American equivalent. So if you saw my Taco Bell stuff, like I've never seen a Taco Bell like that. Even in Nicaragua, where like our McDonald's in Nicaragua is already more fancy than in the United States, and Guatemala here in the city and in Antigua at least, everything's much more fancy even than Nicaragua. So it's quite a leap in just the general fanciness of everything. It's really nice. You can see some of the neighborhood here, a little plaza, like everything is just gorgeous, and you'll notice extremely clean and modern. Like that's just universal. Okay, so they're like, you're gonna get a private car. It's gonna be a really long ride. And I was very much stressed out about this because I'm doing this alone and I've had no time to plan every spare moment I had this morning, I had to spend looking for a hotel because we had no accommodations yet in Guatemala City. And going to Guatemala City with nothing planned, it's just a little bit overwhelming because it's a new city. None of us know the city. We don't really have connections here. It's not like we can call a friend and be like, hey, find us a place. Where do you recommend? We know safe zones and we know some dangerous zones. So we know basically where to look. We know we want to be in zone 10, but that's kind of all we have to work from. So I was just stressing out. So I spent quite a bit of time, though every moment I didn't have to focus on work. I was focused on finding a hotel, and did manage to get one that seems like it's going to be really good. And spoiler, it's fantastic. And just real quick, I'm going to point out for Dominica, if she's watching this, this is a vegetarian brunch place. It's closed today, but it's going to be open. It's been closed on the 24th today, and it's closed on the 25th tomorrow, but it's going to be open on Sunday. So I'm hoping to get breakfast there. And there is a Dunkin' Donuts here, which is pretty funny. There's so many American things, which is not my favorite, but it's kind of cool too that there's the option. But there's loads of non-American stuff, so that's okay. So like, because the road's out, it's gonna be about 3 hours. The whole thing was very stressful. I finally found a hotel, and because I had no time to plan for the ride, it was just giving me agita, right? I was all worried about, how am I gonna do this? I'm gonna get something wrong. I'm gonna get to the city on the bus, and then I've got to figure out how to get around the city, and that's gonna be really, really hard. And there was just so much to go wrong and so many moving pieces, and I had to meet Yvonne in the city, and I had to get her information about things, and I didn't have a way, to really charge my devices or anything if I was doing that. And the journey, which should have been, 25 to 45 minutes, was gonna be 3 hours. So that was just all this time for things to go wrong. And so because of that, I was like, you know what, a private car does sound like a fantastic idea. I think we should do that. And for $30-something to just solve my problem, yes, that was the way to go. And in hindsight, yeah, absolutely, it was a great idea. So Selbin came and picked me up at about 1:15. This is a lively bar right next to me here right now. This is the Capitol Bar. That was a really nice, easy ride. He had a comfortable car. That's a Porsche going by. It's not my first Porsche that I've seen here in the city either. It's amazing how much of that kind of stuff there is. And the drive did take about 2.5 hours. The main road was more or less impassable, and so he took me out and around. We went through Alta Vista, we came through Mixto, and got to see a lot of the outskirts of the city on the back roads, which was really interesting. It was a very nice drive. We had a nice talk. I was able to do some pictures and stuff as we did that, and arrived. And then because I had a private car, it was so easy. We went straight to the hotel, of course. That's just, it was just really, really convenient and easy. I'm just gonna point out the 12 Onzas here. This is, first of all, this is the Meraki Hotel, which is beautiful. But this tomorrow, if you see my coffee shots, this is where I came out to the cafe. Really, really good coffee. And the lachata there, which is horchata mixed with espresso, is amazing. I'll be going to get more of that when I can. Okay, so came into the city, and even just coming through the outskirts of the city, I was so amazed by how beautiful and urbane and interesting that Guatemala City was. Like, I've been really looking forward to it, and I'm excited about seeing it, but coming into it from a distance, it was just shocking to see this massive city in the valley and come over these suburbs up in the hills and see this absolutely fantastic area. And I want to point out, so this is the Fonte Bella, which is a beautiful mall that is almost all specialty restaurants. There are some clothing stores. There is a hotel associated with it. I think there's apartments. And this place is a Spanish restaurant that Dominica and I took Madeline and Emily to and actually ate at in Barcelona. And the whole thing is just absolutely fantastic. And I'm mentioning this now because I'm at this point in the video because I'm walking past it. But when I talk about dinner, this is the location. So coming into the city was just, it blew my mind how wonderful it was. And we drove through so many suburbs and got this really great view of the outskirts and coming in, and came through some major zones. And it's just such a big city, 5.5 million, which I knew, but feeling it, it's so different than anything else in Central America. And so being this giant center of empire in Central America with its own culture, and it's mind-blowing, right? And so clean, and the architecture is great, and public spaces are really nice, and everything's so much more modern everywhere in the city than I was expecting. And I've watched a lot of videos about the city, and consistently they're very down on it. Even people who are like, oh, you should totally give it a try, they're kind of like, you should give it a try, give it 1 day, give it 2 days, you know, it's not bad, and then go on and see all the touristy stuff in Nicaragua. And some people are like, you know, don't go see it, but don't avoid it. But nobody's really raving about it, which is confusing me, because now that I'm here, it's amazing. It's such a great city. Now, I have only seen so much of it. I've been out on several walks at this point, but it's fantastic. So we got in, I got to the hotel. The hotel wasn't quite ready for me yet, but they're totally like, oh, here's your keys, go put your bags in the hotel and stuff. We'll be ready in 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, fantastic. And the room is great, right? It's a 3-bed bedroom, so 3 queen beds, multiple rooms, lots of space, first floor right across from P.F. Chang's, so I can actually watch people eating at P.F. Chang's straight across as I look out the window. I can actually see them from bed. And right in the heart of everything, very comfortable, giant bathroom, everything's very classy and clean and nice. And hola, I have people coming to see me. Hi, lo siento, tengo nada. Sorry. Oh, there's a whole group over here there. That's where they came from. I don't carry, one of my rules, I never carry anything when I'm filming, because it's so easy to get pickpocketed that I can't pay attention. So I never have anything on me whatsoever. But so I got there, I dropped off my stuff. That was great. So much room. Like, this is a giant room. Antigua was so small, and this is so big that it was, yeah, not what I was expecting for the incredibly small amount of money that we're paying. And then, well, since it wasn't ready, I'm gonna turn around and just show some of the restaurants here. Like, look at this gorgeous, gorgeous spot. That's a steakhouse. And then this is a big Mexican place over here. Like, and like, that's a BMW. This is a very, very ritzy city. It all just so amazing. I don't know. I can't explain. How is this city like this? I don't know. And so I went to the Red Lion pub for a couple hours, because I didn't, you know, Yvonne is doing her thing. She wasn't coming back until later, so I had lots of time to kill. So I just hung out there, and they weren't actually open yet, but Clive was there, so he opened up for me and poured me some beers. I actually had draft beer, which I haven't had in a really long time. That was a nice change of pace. And we got to chat for a long time, because he grew up in the UK. He lived in Hong Kong for quite some time, and then he came here to Guatemala 31 years ago, fell in love with someone here, and got married and decided to stay. Thought he was going to live on the beach, but ended up opening a pub, a British pub here in Guatemala City, and has been in this location for a really long time. And he gave me kind of the rundown on life here and what he thought of it, and really importantly, because you get a lot of people who say that the city is very dangerous, and certainly it's a very large city. You are in Latin America. This is not Nicaragua, right? This is not the safest place. It's not, right? Guatemala is up there on the danger list of countries, right? At this point, you know, I think Honduras is #1 in the region for danger. Guatemala is now #2, and then El Salvador has fallen to #3. They're on a really significant crime crackdown, and so El Salvador is getting much safer very quickly. Guatemala's had a pretty rough couple years as far as that goes. I'm going to turn the camera around again, because this is another restaurant row over here. This is actually the block that I'm staying on, and it's just one type of awesome restaurant after another. You can just kind of see them here: Korean, Peruvian, there's an American place, Chinese, a bunch of things, and the hotel. Like, the architecture, the design, everything is so nice. And so he said, you know, like any large city, obviously you have to be careful. There's really good areas and really bad areas. He said this area that we're in, and several other areas, Zone 14, Zone 4, are completely safe. You can walk around in the middle of the night alone. You're totally safe. There's police and security everywhere. There's security cameras everywhere. It's, you know, you don't have to worry at all. He said he's been here for 31 years and has never had a problem. And he's small, a lot smaller than me, and very visibly, you know, a white guy. So he stands out in the city. There's no question that he's not originally from here. So that would potentially make him more of a target. He kind of comes across as a tourist in the same way that I do. Probably not in the same way I do, which is pretty extreme, as I walk through the city with my camera, filming absolutely everything. But so he was very positive on it's not the dangerous place that people make it out to be. There are very large sections, entire zones that are absolutely dangerous and you should never go to whatsoever. And that's the same as any large city as well. And then there's many zones that are perfectly safe during the day or even safe at night with multiple people, but you shouldn't be in them alone, or maybe you shouldn't be there after dark. And so it's pretty much like a normal large city. I am actually surprised just walking around here in Zone 10 how much I see people who outside walking around. Like, clearly the way that people behave here is this sense of complete safety. There's absolutely no sense, and I can say it from myself, like, I don't feel fear, but I've walked some pretty dangerous areas and had people be like, that was incredibly dumb what you've done. London, for example, I've pushed it because, you know, as an American, whenever you hear people with a British accent, you're generally not scared of them. You don't think this is going to be a crime situation, which in some ways keeps me safe because I don't look like someone who's scared, because I'm not, but it's because I'm dumb, not because I'm brave. But I'm actually going to come back past some things I've already walked past because I wanted to come down this street. But looking at other people here on the street, I get a sense that everybody is feeling very, very safe. Everyone is friendly and you can talk to anybody, and every little shop you walk into is incredibly friendly. Very different experience than what you see on YouTube, than what people are projecting is what it's like here. This is modern and urbane and safe and friendly. I mean, everybody says it's friendly. Central America is famous for just how outgoing and friendly it is, but it's not the kind of place that you would have thought. And there's a ad for something in Zone 4. Zone 4 is supposed to be very, very cool, and we're going to be going there tomorrow, I hear, for some dinner. At the time I've recorded this, we've not done that yet. So I hung out there and then got moved into the room, spent a little bit of time just unpacking and getting settled into the room, and then went out for a walk. I was hungry. I had a very small breakfast. It was just fruit and a tiny bit of muesli and a tiny bit of yogurt, and that was it. And I had skipped lunch completely and had no snacks. And so I was really looking forward to some dinner. I had talked to Yvonne and she was like, no, I'm not going to make it back for dinner. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out a little bit early. So it was about 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock. I was out trying to figure out food. I started walking around kind of in this area where I'm filming now. And Yvonne texted me and was like, oh, I'm actually in Zone 4. I'm almost there. I'm going to be back. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I had the keys. So I ran back to the hotel and met her pretty early. And she did not have dinner, so I waited for her. She got ready, and we went out looking for food together. And we ended up going to the place that I showed, the plaza there with all the restaurants. And we walked around. It's beautiful. You go inside. It is so fancy and very, very high-end restaurants and a very large selection of them. It was really cool. And we thought we were going to go to the Spanish place, but it's all like gluten and very heavy. Like I like it, but it's not health food by any stretch. And she's never really been to a Greek restaurant. There's a nice looking Greek place right there. So we went to a Greek restaurant, and I had her try things she's never had before, like spanakopita, and the cheese equivalent of spanakopita, and baklava. So it was, I think she really enjoyed that. It was very fancy. There's fountains everywhere, hence the name of the place. The beautiful fountain. Great place to go. Like, and it was packed. Every single restaurant in the place was pretty much full. There was a couple exceptions, but not many. It was extremely busy, and every single place looked really interesting, really well done from a decor and design standpoint. The service was good that we experienced. The food was quite good. There was a lot that we didn't even explore because there were multiple floors we could have gone to. It was really nice. It was, and when we went to the Greek restaurant, which was very large and had multiple locations inside the mall, it was still going to be a 30-minute wait for a table, which you never experience in Nicaragua. Not something I was expecting. So it was really cool. We had great food, and then that was it. We were tired. She was especially, neither of us had very much sleep. She had a hard time sleeping because she had to get up really early and had to walk in the mountains all day. And she had a really cool day because while they were in the mountains, they also stopped by the San Juan Festival, and she got to go see a lot of indigenous dancing and do special food for the fiesta and everything. So she really enjoyed that. I only got 3 hours of sleep because I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning working yesterday, and then got got up at 5:30 this morning to keep working. So from 2:30 to 5:30 is the only time that I got to sleep. So we got back to the hotel awfully early, about 9:30, and it was straight to bed. And then it was very comfortable sleeping in the hotel. I did at about 10:30. I know I was awake because I felt the shaking from the earthquake that happened in Chiapas during the night. Not a major quake, about a 4.4. I'm surprised that I felt it this far away. Actually, Chiapas is close, but not that close for a 4.4, but it must have been pretty shallow because it definitely shook the city enough to really feel it. You didn't have the like buildings swaying feeling, but you had that solid ground shaking feeling in the bed. And it's the kind of bed it is must have just really transmitted the movement, because it felt crazy in the bed, but I could tell that the building itself wasn't moving that much. I've gotten used to how much the buildings move from the earthquakes from living in Nicaragua, that is for sure. All right, I'm just about back to the hotel at this point. That was our day. It was mostly, you know, I had to work and I had to transit between cities and had to get kind of established here in Guatemala City. But what a great place. And that's a Burger King right over there. I knew it was nearby. I had not seen it previously, but this is just so far my first day, mostly just exploring this couple blocks right around here. But it is nice, and everything I can see in the city and everything I saw driving through, I'm just blown away. I can't say enough how excited I am to be in this city and how much I look forward to getting to spend more time in it in the future. We only get a little bit of time on this particular trip because we have so much other stuff we have to do, and the whole trip is very limited in time. But now that we know about this city, now we know how to get here. It's actually only about I believe a 12-hour drive if I was to do the drive myself. This is actually my hotel room window right there that I'm pointing the camera at on the ground floor. You can walk right up and I can see my laptop screen from here. It's such a short drive, just 12 hours, which I realize is a good drive, right? But 12 hours to cross 3 countries, that's something that we can do pretty much anytime. If we have our own car, we can take the kids, potentially we can take the dogs. We're in the process of buying a car. We're hoping to get a Nissan Versa. I haven't heard what the status is. I know they're negotiating on it, but being able to drive just 12 hours, nice and easy. It's the Pan American nearly the whole way, except for in Nicaragua. Nicaragua is always very easy, so no big deal there. And being able to come up and use Guatemala City, now that we know what this is like, there's so much stuff. And as I drove into the city, this is a really long video today. As I drove into the city, one of the first things I noticed was all the billboards for Panda Express, for Taco Bell. I knew there was going to be Taco Bell. If you look at Taco Bell on a map of Guatemala City, they're everywhere. Someone told me it's more than McDonald's and Burger King combined, and I totally believe it. There's so many. And lots of Burger Kings and Pizza Hut and you know, I said the PF Chang's, the TGI Fridays, the Applebee's, the Dunkin' Donuts, the list goes on and on. There's so many American things that to be able to bring the kids here and satisfy a whole bunch of those they miss things from America cravings, I think is going to be a really big deal, and that it's an affordable city. It's certainly a lot more expensive than Nicaragua, but it's nothing like going to a Mexico City or going to a Panama City. And it's big. It feels more like a Mexico City than like a Panama City. And just having all these urban resources and being able to go get any kind of food that they could possibly want, and the grocery stores are stocked with just all kinds of things. Like, we're so limited in Nicaragua, which is fine day to day, but there's times where you're like, man, I wish I could just get this thing or that thing, and being able to get to a city like this and have access to absolutely everything. And I have to say that the feel is European. To me, this reminds me more of a Rome or a Madrid or an Athens than it does of anything else I've been to in North America. The most similar city I've been to in North America would be Montreal in Quebec. But the weather is so pleasant. Most of the day it was about 67 degrees. I think we had a high of 73, but it only lasted a tiny bit. And at night we're in the 50s. It is just extremely pleasant. And it is year round. It's one of the great things here is that you never get a hot day, you never get a cold day. It kind of gives you an England sort of feel, a little bit warmer, but that kind of Englandish kind of vibe. But to have a city that feels so European, that feels so modern, totally blows me away. No idea this was going to exist in Central America, and nobody talks about this city. So I really want to get out and do a lot of filming and exploring, because I feel like this city needs to get put on the map a lot more. And how is such a big, important, modern city that's such a core to the entire region, not just, that was a Maserati, not so much better known than it is? I have no idea how this manages to stay off of the tourist radar, how people tend to say it's not a great place to come. I get that there's not a lot of tourist attractions in the city, but this is, I mean, I've only been here a little bit, and I already can tell just how livable this city is, how many people are out walking the streets, how nice everyone is, the resources that exist here. This is going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow is going to be great. Valentina is coming in tomorrow. She's due to arrive at 3:30. I'm going to go to the airport and pick her up here in Guatemala City. I'm hoping to get up in the morning and explore some stuff for you guys. I really want to get out and just try out the cafes, because that's what you do in a city, right? Grocery stores, cafes, that kind of stuff. And hopefully do some cool exploring of the city on my own tomorrow. Yvonne is doing her own thing again tomorrow. Same thing. She's going off and doing her mushroom hunting. And then we'll see her in the evening after Valentina arrives. Hopefully we have a lot of awesome adventures tomorrow. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much. I have so much traffic has popped up on the shorts that are being done as I do this, and I'm really enjoying doing the shorts. And I do have to mention, while I'm here, just this is going to be way in the past by the time you get this, but my internet here is really rough. It's really good in Guatemala in general, but here at this particular hotel, the internet's not the best, but the Wi-Fi doesn't make it into my room. There's really thick brick walls. It's an old building, and it doesn't get through the walls at all. So I have no signal in my room. I do have my LTE service on my cell phone, so I am able to get your messages, or have been, whatever, but I can't upload or download anything. So doing my video editing here at the spot I was expecting to do the most of it is really rough. So I'm struggling already, and I'm just getting going on the trip, so I don't know how that's going to work. But so getting the shorts up is all I'm able to do right now. I'm really struggling just to do that, and just getting the data off of my devices onto a hard drive so that my devices stay clear is really hard. All right, like and subscribe, comment below, tell people about this journey, because this is a fun trip. This is an exciting trip. I'm really liking this, and we're going to be going until like July 12th or something. I'll see all of you from Guatemala City tomorrow.